online, and we have 3 in the room, so that technically is a quorum. So for the sake of time, we're just going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. So I would now turn it over to Matthew Volz with the Kansas Infrastructure Hub on behalf of the Kansas Build Kansas Steering Committee to give us a presentation of the applications of the Build Kansas Matching Grant Fund that we have for today. Mr. Volz.
Thank you, Chairman Waymaster and members of the committee for having me today. Our agenda today is going to focus on Build Kansas Fund application review. We have 6 of them to review today. We also have 1 modification request, and then we will do some hub updates towards the end. Let's jump right into if you don't mind, I'm going to skip over the normal how our process operates, and we'll just jump right into application review. Okay, good.
I think we all know how it works.
Okay, good, thank you. We have 6 to review today, as I said. We have 3 in the airport infrastructure grant category, 1 in the water smart grant category, and 2 in the building resilient infrastructure and communities, or BRIC category today. We'll talk a little bit about that here later on, that particular program. The first one, number 2025-082, this is from the Wichita Airport Authority. This is for an airport infrastructure grant. This is called the Jabara Airport Land Acquisition. The federal match is 5% of the total project cost. This is for land acquisition and future development investment at the Jabara Airport on the east side of the airport. They're requesting $51,750 from the Build Kansas Fund. Their local contribution is $5,750. That's 5% of the local match for the match of the federal grant for the AIG. In addition, they have $450,000 of their own money that they're contributing towards the project. The federal funding they're going to get back is $1,092,500 for a total project cost of $1.6 million. And a little bit more about that particular project. The James Jabara Airport is located on the northeast side of Wichita, as you know. It's owned by the Wichita Airport Authority, serves general aviation, charter, flight training, fueling, aircraft maintenance, and hangar space leasing. According to a ks.gov study in 2016, that airport is actually responsible for 10% of the general aviation jobs here in Kansas. So a lot of work going on there. The image on the screen right there, outlined in pink, shows the land on the east side of Jabara Airport that they would like to acquire. The west side of the airport's nearing capacity as far as hangars and space goes, so they're going to be moving and building hangars on the east side of the airport. So what's happening here, it's a little bit complex. It's sort of a puzzle piece of actions, but a private company is acquiring land on the east side of the airport. They're building hangars on the east side of the airport. They're also paying for the construction of a taxiway on the east side of the airport, essentially to serve the hangars that they're building. Important to that is that they have to have access through a city-owned piece of property onto the air side of the fence. And that's why this little piece of property was reserved for the city of Wichita to purchase, so they could access through this piece of property onto the air side of the airport, air side of the fence of the airport, and access that taxiway and the runway, of course. The Wichita Airport Authority wants to build city-owned hangars here, generate revenue, generate jobs in this area. It really does present a very cost-effective opportunity for Jabara to do expansion by getting this private entity to build that taxiway on the east side of the airport. It'll definitely strengthen the airport economy in Wichita and create air industry jobs. And this is an eligible activity under the Airport Infrastructure Grant Program. This project was reviewed and approved by the steering committee on March 26th, and so we bring it to you today for final advice.
All right, thank you, Mr. Volz. Are there any questions in regards to this application? Senator Schallenberger.
Yeah, I haven't caught up with you, so you may have said this. It's in the red. It's the
correct,
and that's 40 acres. Did you say?
I don't have the acreage here in front of me, but I didn't think it was 40. It
doesn't look like 40. But
no, I thought it was more like 20.
Okay.
I believe on page 9 of the application, it says it's 25.69 acres. Is that correct?
Yep, sounds right.
All right.
All right, there you go. Thank you.
Any further questions in regards to this application? All right, seeing none, we will pass this on to the federal government. Next application, Mr. Volz.
Thank you. Number 2025-089 is from the Great Plains Development Authority near Parsons. This project here is a Water Smart Environmental Water Resources Project grant. Again, the applicant is the Great Plains Industrial Park or a development authority that manages the industrial park for the city of Parsons and Lebec County. The federal match on this one is 25%. This project will install 8 miles of water pipeline, rehabilitate a water tower, and install new fire suppression systems. They're requesting $1,413,264 in Build Kansas funding. Their local contribution is $74,382, and that is 5% of the match amount as requested by the advisory committee. Federal funding unlocked is $4,462,938 for a total project cost of $5,950,584. And for a little more information on this project, the Great Plains Development Authority, again, it's a management entity established by Lebec County to manage that industrial park. Right now, and I know this map's a little hard to read, but the largest occupier of that park right now is Day in Zimmerman, and they build munitions for the U.S. Army at that location. This project seeks to rehabilitate and expand the water supply infrastructure to allow for future growth, not only at the city of Parsons, but also for the industrial park. The city of Parsons has an existing water treatment facility in the middle of town. The orange line on this map is a new 12-inch PVC water line that they want to build. And what it will do is it will actually connect the city of Parsons with a rural water district water treatment plant that is about 8 miles east of Parsons and create redundancy in their water supply for the city as well as the industrial park. They also want to, as I mentioned, they want to rehabilitate a water tower on site and install 18 new fire hydrants along this line. Again, this water supply will serve the city and the industrial park at the same time. The goals are system redundancy for the city of Parsons, industrial park growth capacity, and improved fire suppression capacity in the area. This project was reviewed and recommended for approval by the steering committee on April 9th, and we bring it to you today for final advice.
All right, committee, any questions in regards to this application? Representative Vaughn?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was wondering, since it's going to connect, this pipeline would connect to the rural water district, would this also enable like future regionalization of some of the smaller towns to connect to the city of Parsons water line? Are they mostly interested in redundancy for the city and then for this industrial park?
Mr. Volz.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, they would need to have water line infrastructure to the other towns nearby, so that would have to be built first or at least be existing. The rural water district, they didn't mention anything about having redundancy to their customers from the city of Parsons, but I would imagine that the interconnect would allow for that. If that rural water district water treatment plant was to go down, you've got a connection to the city of Parsons plant. But there was no mention of that made in the application.
Okay, thank you. That would potentially provide an additional future benefit. I think that's great. Thanks.
Yep.
Any further questions in regards to this application? Any concerns? All right, seeing none, this one will be forwarded on as well. Mr. Volz.
Thank you. The next one is 2025-095. This is from the Nemaha Marshall Electric Cooperative, and they are applying for a BRIC grant, Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities grant from FEMA. This is for the installation of electronic reclosers. The match is 25% of the total project cost, and this will install oil-free automatic reclosers on existing utility poles to enhance wildfire hazard mitigation. They're requesting $427,500 from the Build Kansas Fund. Their local contribution is $22,500. The federal funding they'll unlock is $1,350,000 for a total project cost of $1,800,000. For a little more information on this project, electronic reclosers are automatic devices. The pictures you see there is typically what you would see in the field mounted on a pole. And what they do is they will interrupt faults. They'll attempt to restore power after a temporary outage. They improve reliability by minimizing interruptions for customers. When a fault is detected, the recloser opens the circuit, but then will close it again to try and clear the actual fault. These are oil-free automatic reclosers, and they offer advantages in terms of maintenance and are basically safer and maintenance-free, and to offer a lower total cost of ownership in the long run. Their goal, of course, is system resiliency and mitigate wildfire risks in the future. This project was reviewed by the steering committee on April 9th and recommended for approval, so we bring it to you today for final advice.
All right, any questions? Actually, I have one. You and I discussed this briefly before the meeting started, but given the status of the BRIC program, do you want to explain that now or later on?
No, we can touch on it right now.
All right.
All right, so in early April, FEMA issued an advisory basically saying that they were defunding the BRIC program. This was a directive from the Trump administration. What that means is that everything is essentially on pause. I mean, according to the advisory, the program is defunded, but on that same day, a court order was issued, U.S. District Court was issued that basically said the administration could not pause funding of the FEMA programs. So I think this will sort of have to work its way through the courts. What we're doing at the Hub office right now is we are still processing Build Kansas Fund applications, because we have a lot of programs right now that are paused or, like in this case, potentially, pulled back entirely. But we want to keep processing these applications, because when they do restart again, we just don't want to have this deluge of Build Kansas Fund applications for the committee to have to review in a very short order.
All right, so the Trump administration with FEMA defunded it. And then what was the court's justification saying that they couldn't? Because of the previous law that was passed, or?
Yeah, they had reviewed the administration's actions with regard to grant programs and funding of grant programs, and in particular had focused on the FEMA and the BRIC grants and how the administration wanted to defund those programs, and had said that basically the administration was taking actions that they shouldn't be taking. They issued that ruling, and they issued an injunction essentially against the administration and said you can't defund these programs. And again, that advisory from FEMA came out the same day as this injunction came out from U.S. District Court, coincidentally.
Okay. So it'd be your opinion that if a community is applying for a BRIC grant, we still forward them on. Because like you said, if we basically hold on them or send them back, you're going to have a plethora of applications if they resume the funding.
Correct. Yeah. It will be a large demand on us and you as the advisory committee to have to review all the applications for all the programs that are on pause right now.
All right. All right. Thank you. Any questions in regards to this application?
I have a question.
All right. Senator Billinger.
Thank you. How many of these automatic shutoff units are involved? I mean, is there a number?
I didn't.
Mr. Bolt?
Yeah, Jason, I don't know if you can check that. I don't recall seeing a number in the application. Did you? Yeah. Yeah, we don't know, but we'll find out and get back to you on that.
Yeah, and how many miles? I mean, is this cover their whole footprint, or is it just part of it? Or I mean, it sounds like a lot of money for automatic shutoffs.
Yeah, they described it as for a road D, I believe, in their application, but they didn't describe how many miles that this would cover, how many miles of line that this would cover.
Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing. That looks like a lot of money for shutoffs.
Yeah, we can find the answers to that and get back to you on that.
Senator Billinger, any other questions?
No, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Volz? All right, see none, and we'll take your advice and go ahead. Since there's no other questions or concerns, we will pass this on and see what happens in the courts.
Thank you.
All right, next application, Mr. Volz.
Next application is from City of Garnett, number 2025-096. This is another airport infrastructure grant program application. This is for the Garnett Municipal Airport for runway 1-19 reconstruction. And this is another land acquisition to prepare for that runway reconstruction. This federal match is 10% of the total project cost. They're asking for $15,331 in the Build Kansas Fund. Their local contribution is $15,332. Federal funding unlocked would be $275,960 for a total project cost of $306,623. And for a little more information about this project, this is again the acquisition of property and easements on the north and west side of the airport, needed for future runway expansion and location of navigation equipment and lighting equipment on the north side of the future runway. This picture, this graphic here shows a little bit more detail about what they want to do. They're actually going to be building a new runway in place of the old one. The runway is, the new runway is number 1836. It'll be approximately 4,000 feet long. Again, they're acquiring land. They're acquiring tracks 6, 8, and 11. Track 6 and 11 are on the north side of the airport. Track 8 is over on the west side of the airport. Again, land acquisition is an eligible activity under the Airport Infrastructure Grant Program. And again, they're going to be putting in navigation and lighting aids on the property farther north as well, but those are only for easements. And of course, the goals are to create a better and safer aircraft operating environment and support the general aviation industry and jobs in Garnett. This project was reviewed and approved by the steering committee on March 26th, and so we bring it to you today for final advice.
All right, thank you. Committee, any questions? All right, seeing none, we will pass this one along as well. Next one, Mr. Volz.
Thank you. Number 2025-098 is another one from the Nemaha Marshall Electric Cooperative Association, again applying for a BRIC grant. This is for load centers and transmission line poles. The federal match is 25% of the total project cost. This will be to install concrete and steel poles to strengthen transmission lines against high wind events and replace some aging infrastructure with modern load centers. They're asking for $950,000 in Build Kansas funds. Their local contribution is $50,000, which is 5% of the total match. Federal funding unlocked will be $3 million for a total project cost of $4 million. A little bit more information about steel and concrete poles. If you've never seen concrete poles, they're a very unique structure. They're made of spun concrete. What they do is they take a rebar cage, put it into a mold, pour concrete in there, and they actually spin the mold and create these annular spaces in the middle of the concrete pole, as you can see in that picture right there. Very strong, very reliable. I've used it extensively throughout the state of Kansas for camera poles for projects around the state. They'll also be replacing 2 substations, a substation similar to the one you see pictured in the background of the pole there, with pad-mounted load centers, a little bit more modern. Again, their goals are to improve system reliability against high wind events and decrease outages to the 3,300 homes that they serve on their network. Another note is that these concrete poles, they are actually produced by Stresscrete up in Atchison, Kansas, and the steel poles are produced by Valmont in Salina. So the money is being all kept here in the state of Kansas, which is good. This project was reviewed and recommended for approval by the steering committee on April 9th, and we bring it to you today for final advice.
How many, a question I have, and you may not know the answer to this, but how many other communities utilize the steel and concrete poles?
I don't know the answer to that. This is a fairly common application, though. Steel poles for sure. Concrete poles, you know, it might be something that a lot of people haven't heard of, but again, Stresscrete's been doing that for many years at their plant up in Atchison, and again, I've used them throughout the state of Kansas, and very reliable and very strong.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Volz?
I have a question.
Senator Milliger.
Thank you. How do these compare in price to the regular wood posts that that most of them use.
Mr. Volz?
Yeah, they had a little bit of information in there about that. One thing that they said, I don't know if they compared the price, but they compared the lifetime, and they said that wood poles have about 1/3 the life of the concrete and steel poles in this case. So again, a little bit more cost effective. And I think as far as pricing goes, I'll have to find out what they pay for wood poles. But they're using their bid prices they received for previous steel and concrete poles as the basis of their estimate for this one.
So what did you, I didn't catch what you said. You said they last how much longer?
3 times longer.
3 times. Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the next application.
Thank you. The next one is the City of Newton, number 2025-099. This is an airport infrastructure grant. This is for the Newton City County Airport, runway 826 reconstruction. The match, federally required match, is 5% of the total project cost. This will make improvements to the east-west runway, patching, repairing, and making some repairs to the edges and cracking that's taking place on the old runway. Their request for Bill Kansas Fund is $73,150. Their local contribution is $3,850. Their federal funding unlocked is $1,463,000 for a total project cost of $1,540,000. And for a little more information about this project, this particular airport on the east side of Newton has 2 runways. It has a north-south runway, which is the large one you see in the picture right there, number 17-35. That's a 6,900-foot long runway. And the smaller east-west runway, number 8-26, it looks small in the picture, but it's actually 3,500 feet long. And again, this project is to do pavement patching and crack repair of runway 8-26, that east-west, smaller east-west runway. Right now, it's also a visual approach runway, and they have future plans to make improvements and upgrade it to an instrument approach runway. This project was reviewed and approved by the steering committee on April 9th, and and approved, and we're bringing it to you today for final advice.
All right, committee, any questions? All right, see none, we will pass that one on as well. And now I believe next we have an application adjustment request.
Yes, thank you. This request came in from Stevens County for the Hugoton Municipal Airport. This is actually a project that the committee approved last month for a Bill Kansas Fund amount, and they're requesting to reduce the local contribution and increase the Bill Kansas Fund amount, and basically because they had calculated it incorrectly. So in this particular one, they had calculated 5% of the total project cost versus 5% of the match amount, which is what we asked them to do. The revised local contribution of $1,825 is 5% of the project match amount as we request from our Bill Kansas Fund applicants. So they're making this request to us. Again, the original Bill Kansas Fund request was $18,249. The revised amount is $34,673, which is an addition of $16,424 with a like reduction in their local contribution. The federal funding and total project costs would remain unchanged. We reviewed it, and you know, we see what the mistake was, and we have no issues with it.
All right, committee, any questions in regards to this revised application? Representative Hoffman?
No, that's fine.
All right, there's no concerns. We'll accept the revisions.
Thank you.
Now on to the presentation on the Kansas Infrastructure Hub and Build Kansas Fund updates. Mr. Volz.
Thank you. Real quick, I just wanted to give you an update on our grant assistance program. This is the program we started up in February of this year. The purpose to be to support our local communities in helping them write grant applications and administer federal grants. It's a reimbursement program, so they hire a grant professional. We will reimburse them for those costs. We actually have 2 applications already. One is from the Kickapoo tribe. They are writing a rural and tribal assistance grant application. And then the Port Authority of Stafford County, which recently won a $25 million raise/build grant, are asking for assistance with grant administration. Funding amount-wise, the Kickapoo Tribe is asking for $25,000 approximately, and the Port Authority of Stafford County is going to be asking for approximately $50,000 from the grant assistance program. So that's an update for you.
Any questions? All right, see none?
All right. I am encouraged the SS4A, or Safe Streets and Roads for All grant program, did get published this past month. This is a $1 billion federal grant program. So that gives me great hope for future grant programs coming out of the new administration. We have been very successful in this grant program here in the state of Kansas. We actually have 49 awards to this grant program all across the entire state of Kansas. Small towns, large towns, multi-county applications, large regions. Some of our even Southeast Kansas Regional Planning Commission, North Central Planning Commission have applied for these grant programs. We've been very successful. And I think what you're going to see next month is you're going to see a lot of SS4A Build Kansas Fund applications, because it does require a 10% match, or I'm sorry, 20% match from the local funds. And so we do use Build Kansas Fund to match SS4A. So you're going to see a lot of applications here in the month of May. We already talked about the FEMA BRIC program update. And then just a reminder, the third Kansas Infrastructure Summit is next week in Lindsborg, and we already have 200 people signed up for that. So we're pretty excited about that. We go through these hub dashboards each month. These are, again, on our website. This one in particular here shows where the applications are coming from for the Build Kansas Fund. A reminder that the green dots are projects that have been awarded a federal grant. Yellow dots are ones where we're still awaiting award. The chart down on the lower right indicates where we are with relation to the $10 million that we are legislatively required to give to each of these economic development districts across the state of Kansas. Again, green being awarded, yellow being awaiting federal award. But you can see that there's several of the economic development districts are starting to catch up to the Great Plains district. Just so you know, we have 79 total Build Kansas Fund applications approved. With the 6 that were approved today, that's now 85. 38 are been awarded federal grants. Now 28 will be awaiting federal grant award, and 19 were not awarded a federal grant. What that means in terms of dollars is that we have committed just under $35 million to the Build Kansas Fund. With the addition of today, I think we'll be over $50 million in those Build Kansas Fund applications that are awaiting federal award. And the money that the Build Kansas Fund assigned to the projects that are not awarded federal grants, just a reminder that it gets recycled back into the Build Kansas Fund for redistribution later. The total value of awarded projects, if you add the Build Kansas funds, you add the applicant contributions, and then you add the federal funds together, it equates to almost $140 million worth of project funding here in the state of Kansas, which is great. From a return on investment perspective, again, that investment of $34.63 million in Build Kansas Fund has brought back $75.93 million in federal funds for a 219% return on investment. And, you know, obviously we track a lot of data within our office. One item in particular I'd like to note is our technical assistance that we provide across the state. We have a tremendously talented team of technical assistance folks that are made up of state employees and contract folks that fan out across the state of Kansas to assist our customers. Our customers are the towns and counties, rural water districts, water management districts, co-ops, and are all people that work very hard to keep the lights on, water flowing, and our economy moving. As you can see from this chart, the desire for help and information is growing, and it's growing fast. The folks that we deal with not only want good information, they want to make a personal connection as well. And that's where our team is great. We have 15 people on our team, combined of state personnel and contract personnel that are across the state and we'll contact each of these small communities and reach out to them and talk to them about their projects and help facilitate their grant writing. And we don't just talk about federal grants. We talk about state funding, state grant programs, as well as private foundation funding. So we try to help them any way we can. We don't say no to anybody. There's funding out there for almost any project, and we try to find that for them, no matter what the source is. We facilitate grant applications, provide advice, provide review of their applications if need be, and just in general give them guidance. Most importantly, we just make connections across the state and help where we can. Couple things. So the infrastructure office has only been staffed since April of 2024. That's when I came on board. And since then, we've hired great staff. Again, we have great contract staff that work for us. As a wrap up, I just want to highlight what we've accomplished in just 1 year with just having started staffing this office up in April of 2024. 68 Bill Kansas Fund applications have been approved through the advisory committee. That's a 600% increase over what was approved previously before we staffed the office. We've seen federal awards increase with over $73 million awarded in just the past year. $34 million now committed from the Bill Kansas Fund, with the potential for another $50 million in projects still awaiting award notices. We've seen impact on community projects. We've funded projects for water conservation, grid upgrades, roads, airports, safety plans, et cetera. We have great contract controls in place now. Our operational procedures are developed, and we're tracking data and metrics, as you can tell by our dashboards. We've got a great new website. We're conducting monthly webinars. We do statewide meetings, such as the summit next week. We do regional meetings, and we do a lot of one-on-one local agency meetings, essentially thousands of touch points here in the state of Kansas. Most importantly, what our greatest measure of success is the appreciation that we get shown by the communities that we help. Hearing a thank you from a small town administrator, and we hear that a lot, by the way, when we go out and meet or at a conference or at a regional meeting. That's really is the best reward that we can ask for, and we genuinely appreciate it. And again, it's the best reward that we can get. And with that, I want to say thank you for your support you've shown me over the past year. I truly appreciate it. It's been a real joy for me to do this job. This will be my last time addressing you as the Executive Director of the Infrastructure Hub. I have some family member care issues that I'm going to be addressing that take priority for me. So I wish you the best of luck moving forward, and thank you very much.
All right, and thank you for your service and for, I mean, really the great results that you've shown in 1 year since you became on as Executive Director. Want to circle back to the BRIC grant update. So back on slide 28, where we have the $45 million awaiting federal grant award, if that is a BRIC grant application, is it just going to continue to sit there in that number?
Correct. It will continue to sit there. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? Senator Schallenberger.
Thank you. On a couple of occasions after these meetings, I've gone to members of the legislature and said, hey, congratulations, your district got some money. And they were shocked to hear it. And I don't know if there's any, if we could get the committee, or somebody here after these happen to let the local legislators know that these things have been awarded. That way I don't have to remember to do it, because it's, you know, it's good news when they get an award, and often the local reps or senators don't even know that they've applied. So if there's some mechanism we can put in place to let those folks know, I think it'd be helpful. Thank you.
Is that, just to follow up on that question, is that when it's actually federally awarded, or when we have the applications in here?
I have contact, I've ran into senators after we've made it here, because I don't know when they get awarded, and said, did you know that Dodge City had applied for this? They said, no. And I said, well, the committee approved it. Oh, well, that's interesting. And so then I've given them information. Somewhere along the way, I think it'd be helpful if
I know
the local reps and senators
I know early on last year when we started this process, there was an application that we had forwarded on to the federal government, and then a representative went on social media and made it sound like they were getting the money then. But we were still, and I believe it didn't end up becoming approved, but it was months later. And so there was confusion as far as how the process works. So I think it's fine that we can let the legislature know what applications we have pending. And then I think we also need, when we find the federal awards and that money is actually coming in and the Build Kansas Fund is going to be utilized, that we notify the legislator so they're aware of the program as well. Because I think a lot of legislators don't even know how this program works. When we,
Along the road, if they could find it.
yeah.
You're right, probably best than they got.
Well, and I know, when I had town halls, I mean, largest town I have is 4,500 people. And I believe it was in Osborne when I was talking about the Build Kansas Fund. And even the smaller communities were unaware that we have the technical assistance to help them, because they said, well, we don't have the authority, the personnel to write a federal grant. And I was like, well, that's the whole reason why we set up the office, is so they can assist you. So, yeah, I think with 2 years left, a little more word of mouth needs to go out in regards to legislators and then also communities as well.
Yeah, do you mind if I address that?
Yes.
All right, well, so to Senator Schallenberger's question, yeah, great idea. With the clarification to people that, the Build Kansas Fund only comes into play if you're awarded the federal grant. We just need to make that clear so that we don't get a situation which you said that where they make a press announcement, hey, we just got $15 million, and just make sure that's clear. But I like the idea though, and we'll make sure we do that moving forward. Yeah, and then as far as letting people know about the Build Kansas Fund, yeah, that's our biggest challenge. I mean, and we've, Jason, myself, and all of our technical assistance staff have spent the last year out there marketing and promoting. And of course, we have to keep doing that over and over again because of turnover, in our small towns. And so we're constantly doing that. We're constantly at a conference, we're sitting at a booth, at a table, talking to people from all over the state of Kansas and just spreading the word. And we tell people in organizations, hey, if you need a speaker, we are there. And we love talking about this program and love sharing our successes. And you let us know, we'll be there and do it for you.
Well, and going back to press releases, when you mentioned that, it kind of sparked something, because after we had the meeting just last month, there was a press release that went out by a community. And if you read the fine line, you could tell that it was pending federal approval. But the way it was written made it sound like we had given them the money that day. And so they're in partnership with another community, and then that community wanted to know what they needed to do to be awarded the funds. I was like, no, that press release was written purposely to make it sound like they were awarded the funds, but it's still contingent on federal approval. So that's kind of where we need to be careful, because communities will go out there, and it may not be a legislator going on social media, it may be the community themselves sitting on a press release and they've been awarded money when technically, no, they haven't, because it's still subject to the federal approval.
Yeah, and we do a press release whenever there is a federal award, and you've contributed to those many times with a quote. We do a press release to let people know about it, and we push it out to all the press facilities. And they do get picked up by the local media. When there is a federal grant award, that's when we do a press release.
Yeah, so that's when I've supplied a quote for that. Mm-hmm. All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none. Well, we wish you luck, and thank you again for your service to the state of Kansas, Mr. Volz.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right, committee, that is all we have for today, so we are adjourned.